First of all, it was the defense who kept us in this game. While we were stumbling over our own feet the entire first half, and then starting out in the second half. So they won this game for us. We executed a few drives. We could have done so much better. But we got the job done whenever we needed to. It hadn't hit me yet. I guess it hit me a little bit on the sideline, but no, I can't articulate it. I'm not that smart. But it feels great.
I just can't say enough about the leaders. I'm so happy for the Georgia people. I'm happy for the people that get this for so many years they've been without it. But I told the guys in the locker room, just take a picture of this. Because I think back to the 80 championship picture and seeing all those players and the Frank Rosses and the Herschel Walkers and all these people that have reached out and said things. Our guys have accomplished that, something special, and they, as they say, they've become legendary. And I want that for them. It's not for me. And I know it's for the Georgia people and all that, but it's really for these guys who have given so much. And I certainly appreciate what they've done.
You just cannot help but feel great and be happy for the University of Georgia community, that program, Kirby Smart, Stetson Bennett. Their journey, their struggle has been rewarded. And even if you're not a Georgia fan, or even you don't pay attention to college football like that, it's just great to see somebody's process rewarded. This is what they brought Kirby Smart there to do, was to slay Alabama. And they succeeded. But the process continues. It's never too soon to turn the page to 2022. And as we're joined now by a friend of the show, Super Bowl champion and Notre Dame radio analyst Ryan Harris. Ryan, Mike and I had ended up, as we often do, backing into a pretty heated discussion about what last night represented for college football. So we'll ask you, was there a larger takeaway for you last night when you watched Georgia finally break through and beat Bama?
Yeah, you got to run the football to win championships. I mean, it doesn't matter how you slice it. Georgia came out in that third quarter, and they started running the ball. And that's whether you're playing Alabama or the Patriots in the NFL, they do things differently on defense. They're going to hit you first and then look for the ball carrier. Well, Georgia met that physicality after they experienced it in the SEC championship game, came out in that third quarter, ran the ball. And then for Stetson Bennett, what a story for all of us to look at, right? Perseverance, belief before anybody else had it. And it's been fun to see Stetson Bennett celebrate, because I know from winning the championship, there are a lot of celebrations, and it looks like old Stetson's been at every single one of them.
Ain't that the truth?
No, I know. Yeah, he was great. He was great. What an incredible story, as you said. Now, with this disagreement with Mike, I'm not going to tell you who represents what position, but one guy says, hey, Alabama is just going to continue. This was a little bit of a down year for Alabama, and they'll be back in a familiar position pretty soon. And the other guy said, hey, watch out. The field is starting to even out a little bit. It's Georgia, transfers, NIL. It's a different college football landscape, and there are going to be more people coming to the table. What do you think?
Well, brothers Michael, Alabama will return. I think you could even see that in Bryce Young and how he was kind of acting after the game. Disappointed, sure, but you could sense that he was like, I'm going to be back here again next year. And think about this. This is a team that had lost its two top wide receivers. And one, Mechie, coming into the game and then during the game, and you still had high production from Bryce Young. So it's unbelievable talent that they had, and they didn't have it in the game. I'll tell you what, though, that defense, Dallas Hall, man, those guys, you get a young freshman like that with 2 sacks, that's in a championship game. You're going to be back in that place. And just the depth of talent that Alabama has, it separates them from the field. And that's something Nick Saban's used to doing, building that talent, recruiting it, and I'm sure he will be there again.
So I'm watching.
So you agree with Mike?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So you agree with Mike? So you agree with Mike?
I
okay. All right. Okay. That's
not a hot take.
Y'all both wrong. That's okay. Keep going. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, but I'm watching the game last night, and I had this thought, and I was like, maybe I'm just so into this game. I'm excited. It's the national championship game. The stakes are high. Everybody's playing their heart out. They want to all be legends. Not to mention, the field is littered with future NFL players. But I swear there were periods at the game I'm like, is it my imagination, or are these dudes running faster and hitting harder than a lot of the people on Sundays? I mean, they were flying around the field last night. So in a game full of future of 4- and 5-star players and future NFL players, was there an individual that stood out and stood above the rest? Stetson Bennett was the story individually, but was there a player that you were watching, knowing you probably in the trenches, where you're like, yeah, that guy's gonna be playing on Sunday, on a lot of Sundays to come?
Well, Will Anderson has been doing it since his freshman year at Alabama, and he really reminds me of my former teammate DeMarcus Ware. Big, strong, physical, quick off the ball. You could tell he was jumping the count a couple times, an offensive lineman's worst nightmare. But Will Anderson showed he understands the game and he loves the craft at a different level than everybody on that field yesterday to me. So Will Anderson is that guy. He stands out. And again, he started as a freshman at Alabama, and I'd be shocked if he goes anywhere lower than 20th in the NFL draft coming up.
They say he might be number one in 23. Yeah. They say he'd be number one pick in 23 possibly over these quarterbacks. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was going to say, we haven't talked to Ryan since Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, that bowl game, 2-point win for Oklahoma State. And I know Notre Dame has a couple of guys going on to the pros. But what was I know it's a bowl game, but what was your first impression, just that kind of top-of-mind impressions of seeing Marcus Freeman in his first game as a head coach?
Well, he had his players ready to play. They came out and at one point led 28-7. But in getting his players ready to play, you have to remember in bowl games, conditioning matters. I thought even Alabama looked a little out-conditioned in the championship game in that fourth quarter. It's easy to do the plays and have the practices when you're in those bowl practices, but to really force that conditioning, to force your guys to play, I mean, really, the best coaches I had, they would put guys on treadmills after practice for about 30 minutes just to get them used to the load of work. And that's really where Notre Dame fell victim. In the second half, they were just out-conditioned by Oklahoma State, who then started running the hurry-up offense, which I love, formerly, playing with Peyton Manning. That hurry-up is about 30% of your offense. When you see your opponent heaving from the chest to the ankles, you know you're about to have some success. So great job getting the guys ready, a great learning experience for Coach Freeman. I got the chance to talk with him a little bit after, and he said, we needed this so that we know what it takes to go win a championship. They persevered through some change and challenges, and at the end of the day, they had to be in better shape physically and coaching as well. There weren't a lot of adjustments made in the second half. Those are changes that can be made, will be made. And it's going to be fun opening up the season at Ohio State next year. That's gonna be a fun opener for Notre Dame, and I think for college football.
Yeah, and this is, for me, Michael's going to laugh when I say this. This is the trying to have it both ways department. And he called me on it earlier, because while I do think it's still Alabama's world and everybody's living in it, I have been on record because of how highly I regard Marcus Freeman based on the way people like you regard Marcus Freeman, based on the situation that he inherits from Brian Kelly. I'm on record as thinking that Marcus Freeman will win a national championship before Brian Kelly, given the relative ease, if you will, when it comes to a path to the playoffs. You follow what I'm saying? So
absolutely, absolutely.
It didn't go perfectly in the bowl game, but I'm wondering if a lot of people feel like you felt. Are they as encouraged as you are about the future of this program? I've seen them ranked number 5, in certain places in terms of early 2022 rankings. Is the Notre Dame fan base as energized, albeit coming off a loss, as you are?
Absolutely. I mean, Notre Dame fans hadn't seen Notre Dame score 28 points in a bowl game for a while. You know what I mean? And that was just in the first half. Okay. And then this also, I always also encourage people when you're talking about the college game, think about if you were a recruit. I mean, is Notre Dame cooler, bigger, faster, stronger, or are you going to LSU right now? I mean, Marcus Freeman has already ushered in one of the top recruiting classes, and it looks different. He's using social media. He's active. He's showing guys his family. That's the thing I love too. He said, my players are gonna learn how to be a husband and a father from seeing me be a husband and a father. I mean, those kinds of things I know from being in locker rooms. You play harder for coaches care about you and care about you beyond the game. Because make no mistake, every player sees injuries. Every player in every college team this year saw a quality player go down due to injury, you want to know that somebody has your back. And when that person is the head football coach at Notre Dame, I mean, those are the kinds of things that parents are going to say, you're going to Notre Dame. Kids are going to say, I want to go to Notre Dame. And I'm with you. I believe Marcus Freeman, I think they'll be in the game within the next 2 to 3 years. You're going to see Tyler Buckner, a great young quarterback for Notre Dame. He could be the first-round pick at quarterback for Notre Dame since Brady Quinn. So I really like where the program's heading, and I like the ownership Marcus Freeman has taken of the program from day one.
All right, man. Well, we love talking to you. Ryan Harris, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ryan.
And we will talk to you again soon. A great day for college football. Michael, we could agree to disagree.
Yeah,
but I think we can all agree that was a fun scene last night. How could you not be happy for Georgia? How could you not have enjoyed somebody finally breaking through after 40 years? All right, man. Be good. Thank you, Ryan.
Too.
Appreciate it, fellas.
No, I wouldn't go that far. It wasn't a great game. It was an interesting game.
You don't think so?
It was an intriguing game. It wasn't great. I mean, it went the bulldog was falling asleep. I mean, it was a long time without a touchdown.
Well, Bulldogs always fall asleep. But hey, one possession game with a minute to play. Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.